Hey everyone, welcome to Broadband Deployment News. So I've got a success story for you today. An electric co-op in Virginia has just connected their 20,000th customer. Be right back. Thanks for joining me, Rick Uzzi here with Broadband Deployment News. So congratulations to Central Virginia Electric, transforming lives here. You see co-op makes 20,000th broadband connections in 52 months, so a little bit over 4 years. This is in the NRECA, that's the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association. That's in their website article that they posted here. So I was just going to read through this. I think it's really a nice story, kind of shows you what can be done, especially with electric co-ops who are just in really good position to be able to provide broadband to a wide area because they already serve customers generally in rural areas. That's how they got started. They tend to be rural electric co-ops. So they got started in areas that needed to have power. And then now as broadband, as broadband became available, they started, many of them started providing broadband. Many more now are getting into that business because they're very well situated because of the fact that, again, they connect, they're already connecting these customers in rural areas electric service, so they're customers of theirs. They've got access to rights of way and to poles and those kinds of things. They tend to want to serve everybody in the area because they're a co-op, so that's kind of in their mindset is we want to be able to serve everybody and provide everybody the service that is in our footprint. So again, very well suited for this. And quite often when you have rural areas, you've got some rural towns that generally have okay internet because you've got enough customers there for somebody like a Windstream or AT&T to come in, or you might have an independent cable company or telephone company in the area that will provide that service in the town. But then once you get outside of that town, it can get difficult because you've got customers few and far between and nobody really wants to do that. So the electric co-ops have stepped up in a lot of cases and done that. And here's a great example of that. So you see here, don't let the nearly 300-year-old house at the end of the 3-mile long gravel road, wow, in rural Virginia fool you. It's got the fastest internet around as one of the 20,000 plus broadband connections made by Central Virginia Electric Cooperative in 4 years, a milestone recently marked by the co-op. So right there, you've got a 3-mile long gravel road. That's one of those long driveway problems where this house, even if there was somebody running right past their gravel road, would probably not have gotten service or they would have gotten a quote from maybe, let's say, a national provider of, $30,000, $40,000 to get them hooked up to get down that road. So in this case, the co-op was able to come in and do that. It says, the customer here says, I've been released from buffer circle purgatory. That would be that little circle when you're trying to load a page, said Susan McSwain, the first resident of the house to get electricity from the co-op and broadband from its subsidiary, Firefly. So most co-ops, I think almost all of them, that I've seen, if not all of them, they tend to set up a subsidiary to make those financials and all of that separate from the electric business. So Firefly is their brand name. We'll take a look at their website here in a minute. Having Firefly is like having a planetary library on my desk. It's access to a world of wonder. And that's pretty interesting that I think what they're saying here is this is the first house that got electricity from the co-op, and now she was the first, so this would be going back several years, she was the first customer to get broadband. McSwain shared her story at the Arlington-based co-op's April 5th celebration with 160 representatives from electric co-ops and co-op organizations and state agencies, state and federal lawmakers, and CVEC partners that work to get the job done, including Calyx, so I guess they use Calyx equipment, Connexon. Connexon is a company that helps co-ops get in the broadband business. There's a lot of the heavy lifting there. And then Gray Bar, I didn't look and see what they were doing there. And SNN Communications. Reps Abigail Spanger, Bob Good of Virginia, whose districts are served by CVEC, praised the co-op's milestone and offered bipartisan support for rural broadband. To connect 20,000 homes and businesses over 4 years, you're literally changing lives and communities, said Good. Co-op's fiber network is now available to 40,000 homes and businesses, 90% of which lack other options for broadband service, said Bruce Mauerhoff, Firefly's Senior VP and Chief Operating Officer. So that's pretty interesting. So they've got 20,000 customers signed up, and they pass 40,000 homes. So they've got a 50% take rate at this point. And as he mentions here, 90% of those 40,000 don't really have options. So this really was a perfect area for them to be doing this. So I would expect that their take rate would would go up pretty quickly if they really don't have many other options there for broadband. And co-ops, again, they want to serve everybody. So they're probably, again, it's 90%. There's that 10% that maybe have other options, but they still want to serve those areas because they say, well, we're just going to serve everybody. So they might not get in the business if they don't have an area, or if they're not covering areas that are unserved. So if they've got a lot of territory, like I'm under a COB EMC here, which is it's an electric membership co-op, but it's in a fairly dense area because this area kind of blew up years ago. So there's lots of dense population here. So they don't have a need to get in the business. And there's other operators here doing that. There's Comcast, there's AT&T, you've got T-Mobile can do the 5G fixed wireless if you want to do that. So there's no reason for my EMC to get in the business, but these guys obviously had good reason to do that. It says we placed 14.5 million feet of strand and lash fiber on poles and another 3 million feet in conduit underground, he said. That's enough fiber to reach from the first pole where we began in Appomattox all the way to Anchorage, Alaska, and we did it in 52 months. The Firefly team described its $150 million trek, which began in 2018 and traveled through its 14-county electric territory, as ambitious as it was capital intensive. So 14 counties in Virginia is their footprint. So this is fantastic for those people, again, in rural areas that didn't have other options. To prepare the system for fiber, CVEC performed make-ready work across its entire system of 4,500 miles of distribution line. The co-op replaced 5,738 poles, far above its typical 100 to 150 poles each year, and set 6,490 anchors. It rearranged equipment on tens of thousands of poles and installed 28 communication huts as network nodes, Marhoff said. So you can see the work that has to go into this. There's just a make-ready work of, you got to go walk the plant and see which poles can accept the fiber, which ones need to be replaced if you're going to start doing all of this. And obviously they had to do quite a bit of that work here. On the financial side, invoices more than doubled and lines of credit grew exponentially. At peak times, we could be paying more than $3 million a week for materials, construction, or make-ready work, said Tina Malia, Firefly's vice president and chief financial officer. As you can imagine, a $150 million project in 4 years can really affect cash flow. So where'd they get the money? It talks a little bit about that here. CVEC previously spent about $15 million per year on infrastructure, but during the last 4 years, fiber construction cost $35 million to $40 million annually, she said. The co-op's lines of credit increased from $9.7 million with National Rural Utilities Cooperative Finance Corp. and $1 million with CoBank to about $20 million from each lender. The USDA Rural Utilities Service Electric Program, or RUS program, approved a $66 million loan. So that's part of the USDA Reconnect, that you can get loans and grants through that. So they approved a $66 million loan to launch CVEC's fiber venture. The co-op also won funds from the FCC's Connect America Fund auction. So that's prior to RDOF. And then RDOF, the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund, and USDA's Reconnect program for rural broadband. Grants from the state and counties have also helped the co-op achieve its goals. So lots of federal dollars there being applied and being put to good use here. That we've got 20,000 people connected up to this service and potentially 40,000 that can get it. These are all important funds that allow us to provide this world-class service at affordable prices for our subscribers, she said. Bottom line to winery manager Bill Tompkins is that the co-op's delivery of broadband during the pandemic kept him in business. Tompkins manages Veritas, the vineyard where Firefly's event took place. Firefly Broadband helped Veritas survive COVID, he said. All of a sudden you had to order online. The point of sale became touch-free. Tastings were ordered through a QR code. We became a no-cash facility. All these things were possible due to having broadband. So they were in the position prior to the pandemic, and I guess, maybe, I don't know when they got it, but they had broadband during the pandemic. So you can imagine if they didn't, how this might have impacted their business. And we know that lots of businesses were impacted. Some of that was related to maybe not being able to change the way they did business because they didn't have good broadband, I suppose. Of course, there were other issues with people having to stay home and those kinds of things. But again, this helped them weather the storm. Gary Wood, president and CEO of CVEC and Firefly, thanked the co-op's board for making the decision to enter broadband despite the challenges and noted how Firefly has been embraced by the community. People love local providers. So whether it's an electric co-op like this or, a lot of our customers are mom and pop broadband operators. They're local independent, maybe family-owned cable operator in a town or several towns, or independent telephone company. Could be a cooperative telephone company or just an independently owned telephone co-op, again, maybe family-owned. So people, they love to do business with local companies, and they know they're going to get service from those companies. And one reason is because the people who are running the show and doing everything live there in the same town. So you'll bump into them in the grocery store, at church, wherever you happen to be, maybe at the ballpark, at the Little League game. So you bump into people, you'll bump into your customers there, and the customers know they can reach out to you. And so it's one big happy community. So people love doing business there with whether it's a co-op or, again, a family-owned business. Transforming lives, that's what we're doing at Firefly in Central Virginia, he said. So again, nice story from NRECA, an association of electric cooperatives. They've got, I think now, a little over 200 co-ops that are providing broadband or in the process of deploying it right now. And they've got many more that are looking into that. And by the way, if you are an electric co-op or any operator, anybody who's looking to get into broadband, make sure you reach out to us, because we can help you with that. That's how we started back in 1995. We helped people get in the internet business. It was dial-up then, but that's what we were doing. And we've obviously, with the times, switched to broadband, whether that be cable, fiber, fixed wireless. We've helped operators get in the business. And today, most of our time is spent helping operators be more efficient in their business, by reducing their costs, helping them improve the services to their subscribers through some of the services that we provide, helping them provide more services to their subscribers like voice and IPTV, those kinds of things. So make sure you look us up. I'll have our contact info at the end here. I did want to show Firefly's website here. So let's see. I saw it. That's not up here now. They have a little graphic. It might pop up in here in a minute. They had a graphic about the fact that they've hit their 20,000 customers, but I think it's rotated to another one. You see here, no speed limits at your home and your business. Just got faster. They've got residential and business. And you see here, honest, affordable, reliable. There you go, 20,000 connections. There's the bee, Firefly, or not a bee, a Firefly. Looks like a bee, but it's a Firefly. So 20,000 broadband connections that they're celebrating. Honest, affordable, reliable, no contracts. So that's something people like. They like, obviously, dealing with an honest company, and you feel that way more so when you're dealing with a local company. Affordable. This is an electric co-op, so they're not for profit. Now it's not like they're giving it away. You'll see here in a minute. Reliable. So it's fiber. It's going to be reliable. And they're an electric co-op, so they're in the business of making sure that lines, whatever type of lines they are working. So if they have a storm or something like that, or something comes through, they're certainly able to respond to those things. And they probably have been doing fiber for a long time, having just a pretty big service area. They're probably doing fiber to their different offices and their different electric utility facilities, those kinds of things. So I was going to take a quick look at the pricing. Here we've got Firefly residential internet. Let me make this bigger. Kind of small here. I can't read that on the page. Offers fiber to the home, broadband, internet with speeds of up to 1 gig per second. No contracts, no data caps. Customers can enjoy a whole home Wi-Fi experience. Delivers high-speed internet connection you need for prices you want. And we got some packages here. So they got a 100 by 100 package, which $50 a month. So that's certainly plenty for a lot of people. $50 a month. You can get a gig symmetrical for $80 a month. And then they've got, looks like managed Wi-Fi for $6 a month, approximately right there. So you can get that. And business, they've got similar plans back here on the business side, except businesses are going to pay more because generally they're going to use more bandwidth, use more resources, maybe have higher needs as far as technical support, and maybe an SLA in there, service level agreement, where they're, it's a little more important for them. So here you've got 100 by 100 at 80. That's the same price that you can get a gig for as a residential subscriber. 150 for 250 by 250. And then they've got a gig for $250 a month, gig symmetrical. So there you go. I see a Conway Fan 98 says your county, Carroll County in Southwest Virginia, has created a universal fiber to the home, partnered with a local provider as well as charter RDOF areas, but the project has not been able to get off the ground. That's unfortunate, because I know you've been looking for that. Because the state's funding awards through VATI, Virginia Telecommunications Initiative, has been on hold for 5 months for 2023. That's too bad. It's unfortunate you don't live in this area where you've got this co-op making great headway, but it does sound like they're trying to do something. I'm sorry that's on hold. I know you've been waiting patiently for that, so I'll be thinking about you in Virginia, and hopefully that will come about at some point. So thanks everyone for joining me, including Conway Fan 98. I appreciate that comment. So again, if you are in the business of broadband or entering the business of broadband, we can help you either way. If you're already in the business, your network's built, we've got services that you can use today for all kinds of things, including a cybersecurity product that we are rolling out right now, if you need that. And the reason I mention that also is because if you are familiar with BEAD, the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, there is a cybersecurity requirement as part of that. So if you're going to be providing or getting funding from that program through the federal government, actually through your state, the federal government will send it to your state, and then the state will subgrant it to you. Your state will have to make sure that you have a cybersecurity program in place, that you've got certain things in place, and you're going to need to be able to determine if you've got any kind of intrusion, like intrusion detection kind of things in place, a plan in place. We can help with that. So we've got a fully managed cybersecurity service. It's basically Security Operations Center as a service. So it's a SOC as a service. So reach out to us, and all kinds of other things we can do for you. Diagnostics, hosted email, 24/7 end user support if you need that. Or if you have support in place, but you're not 24/7, we can do after hour support. We can do weekend support. We can do overflow support. So if your call center gets busy at times and you need to send us automatically some calls at points or just shift stuff to us, we can do that for you as well. So you see our contact info there. Just reach out to us and we'll be happy to talk with you and tell you what we can do for you. So thanks for joining me today, and I will see you next time for Broadband Deployment News. Take care. Bye-bye.